Hello everyone, and welcome to another Top 5 Records video. Today is a very exciting day for Rolling Stones fans, because today is the release of the Black and Blue Super Deluxe edition. Now, we're getting a lot of Super Deluxe and anniversary box sets these days. Why would this one be particularly interesting? Now, first of all, we get an entirely new mix of this album on the first disc. Second disc, we got demos and outtakes, and for Black and Blue that is particularly interesting because the record itself is rooted in jam sessions, so we get an insight in that process and in what was going on. Now the third and the fourth disc is also interesting because it is a full live album, the Live at Earls Court show from 1976. So, what does it sound like? Is it a good offer? Starting off with this mix. On forehand, I wasn't even too thrilled with that mix. I just thought, yeah, okay, maybe interesting, a new mix, but why bother? Well, there's one particular reason why we should bother, and that is the name of the man who mixed it, Steven Wilson. And Steven Wilson has done an incredible job the last couple of years for bands like Deep Purple and Jethro Tull, sometimes making what fans consider the ultimate mix and best sounding version of some of their favorite records, and records that people are used to listening to. So Steven Wilson has something very nice out there. How does it work on Black and Blue? Well, I really am surprised. He didn't make two drastic choices. The main focus, in my observation here, was getting a clearer, crispier sound without messing it around. I can be a little bit reluctant with new mixes. For example, when the Beatles' White Album was remixed, they advertised it with, they brought this record to the new age. And I thought, well, as long as the record is in the bins and people are enjoying it, it's already in the new age. You don't need to reinvent it, and then they clean up instruments and give them a separation that doesn't really work. Pretty often you can find in a new mix a pretension of making something young and fresh, and well, you're never going to make it young, but you can make it fresh just by getting good, clear, detailed sounds out there. This mix in a certain way reminds me mostly of great mastering jobs. There's clarity, there is good dynamic. Really, on a song like Fool to Cry, I think this is actually a lot better job than the 2009 remaster, for example. There is a clarity, there is a detail, and there's a quality to this that makes this great. It is fresh, it's slick, it's detailed, but it's also very authentic. Steven Wilson is not messing with the Stones' vision. He really makes it work for this release. So that is really some great value to this box set. Now going to the second disc. And this is a disc with outtakes and demos, opening with the song I Love Ladies. I think it's fun because you can hear that the Rolling Stones in this session are having fun. And I think that Black and Blue essentially is an album about the Rolling Stones inviting fun back into their sessions. But there's also a very strong element of this particular song being a real-time Flight of the Conchords song. I'm not sure if people know Flight of the Conchords. It's this New Zealand folk duo. They're hilarious, and they're tongue-in-cheek. They're pretty witty. But this actually reminded me of one of their songs, like it's a parody of not a Stones song, but a parody of what the Stones were looking after, or what particularly Mick Jagger was looking after. Because on this disc, and I'll continue about that later on in this review, you notice that Keith Richards is trying to get something back in, while Mick Jagger is trying to look out and trying to change the sound of the band with trends at the time, which I do understand. I think he did an awesome job on Some Girls, but this record, it really is the blues and sometimes even reggae or funk vibes that Keith Richards deeply feels on this record that really makes it work. Black and Blue is Keith Richards winning. And on I Love Ladies you hear Jagger being friends with Bowie was experimenting with plastic soul, which really is something else than the funky element that Keith Richards is trying to get in here. There's an irony. And it's fun to hear, but it's mostly interesting from a documentarian point of view. Second track, Shame, Shame, Shame. Same kind of playfulness on this track as I Love Ladies, but it grooves in a very strange way, and this actually works pretty well. Perhaps this song is more of an omen to some girls, which really works, of course. I really like it. I like Shame, Shame, Shame. Then track 3, and for me it gets really interesting here, because this track is called Chuck Berry Style Jam with Harvey Mandel. And this is a beautiful addition to this box set. Again, Black and Blue, to me, is about exciting. You know, they're trying to find the fun, find the groove, and here on this track, you have it. I love those Chuck Berry type of guitar solos. And Keith Richards playing with that gives it another tone, another vibe. Less dangerous. When Chuck Berry does it, it really is dangerous. There's an edginess to it. Chuck Berry's playing. You don't want to get involved. And Keith Richards is really inviting. I like his friendly tone of that Chuck Berry element going on there. I would have loved to see Keith Richards' face while doing this. I mean, he must have been having so much fun on this one. This is really good insight in the building of this record and this album. I would have paid extra if the microphone would have been running while Keith Richards and Mick Jagger were discussing the direction of the band, because there is a struggle going on, and it's fascinating. And I'm not picking any sides. The struggle itself is fascinating because they're both geniuses, clearly with different visions already at this point. Then track number 4, we get Blues Jam. Nice and smooth blues session. It's fun. My guess is because it's with Jeff Beck, and Jeff Beck, he's enjoying himself. Might this be part of the famous Rotterdam Blues Jam? Because the next 2 songs, which also have Jeff Beck on there, they are the Rotterdam Blues. As a matter of fact, track number 5 is Rotterdam Jam, the famous Rotterdam Jam, which had a very important influence on the sound and development of this record. Definitely more groovy than the other session. Jeff Beck's jazz rock influence here is very audible. There is a Jeff Beck coming from blow by blow vibe, and I think this is really, really cool. Interesting funk. This may be the most inspiring thing happening to to Rotterdam in years. Now, okay, Rotterdam is a great city for jazz. Let's put it like that. But for all the other genres, this Rotterdam Jam may be the highlight of that city. Track number 6, the Freeway Jam, which is also part of the famous Rotterdam Jam session. They used their Rolling Stones mobile from the Deep Purple song to record in Rotterdam. And this is the Freeway Jam with Jeff Beck. I believe this is even a Jeff Beck song, but I'm not so sure about that. I'm not a big Jeff Beck fan. He has some great stuff. I love his stuff, but never had a deep dive in his work. They clearly had fun doing this track. But Jeff Beck would not have been a good addition to the Stones. He goes his own direction, and you can hear that the band is having fun following him. I'm curious if Keith Richards was having fun following him, because this may even sound like a threat to what the Stones were doing, and Jeff Beck is dominant here. Love it. I love these insights. I think this second disc is one of those demo or jam discs that really helps build the story, and it is of a great value and insight because of the names that are working there, because of the fun, because of the playfulness. This is a very good second disc. Then we go to disc 3 and disc 4. the Earls Court 1976 show. Okay, opening with Honky Tonk Woman. This is solid Stones. Mick Jagger sounds strong and dominant here. The entire show, the entire sound is strong, with a very much space and room for timing. I mean, there are strong silences. I love that. Track number 2, If You Can't Rock Me and Get Out of My Cloud. Again, very strong sounding Mick Jagger here. Awesome Keith Richards guitar solo. 3, Hand of Fate. Here the new songs start. There's something messy going on here, as if Mick Jagger doesn't fully feel yet where the strength of the song lies when doing a live performance. Backing vocals are much sharper. Very nice jumpy piano going on there. Hey Negrita, same thing. It is fun to hear this track live, but they haven't fully found the dynamic of the song live yet. Then we get to a Temptations cover, Ain't Too Proud to Beg. Nice job. A song that I recorded earlier. I believe this was for I Know It's Only Rock and Roll, but great live version. Love it. Fool to Cry. This is where the show gets really interesting. Awesome ballad. I love that song. And I was mostly focusing on, in the intro, there's a great keyboard, and then Jagger's phrasing, the way he's putting the words out, the way he's carrying the story. That is some great stuff. Great live version of Fool to Cry. Hot Stuff. Hot Stuff really works well at this moment in the show, with this energy, with Jagger, with an awesome guitar. Keith Richards does an amazing job. This is cool. Let me go to You Gotta Move. And You Gotta Move may be the best version of the song yet that I've heard. Slow building with a guitar, nice solo, and then when it starts and it grooves all the way. Love that build up. Okay, track number 9, You Can't Always Get What You Want. Slowly but surely, this show is becoming one of my favorites in Rolling Stones recordings at this point in the show. I love the way the black and blue stuff is working, or at least they're trying to make it sound, and then when you get to a classic like this, you really long for it. There is a certain freshness still on this awesome track. Great vocals. Jagger is on fire on this track. Song Happy, this is an unexpected Exile on Main Street track here. I think it works pretty well in the show. Tumbling Dice, nice organ. Great song, great live version. The band is having fun here. Then we go to Nothing from Nothing. And that was not a Stones song that I recognized. And honestly, it is not. It's Billy Preston. It's a Billy Preston song, and they're not covering it because Billy Preston, who's playing with the band, is also doing the vocals here. No Jagger. No Jagger. What is Mick Jagger doing? Well, later on in the show, we will find out what Mick Jagger was doing at this point, or at least I have a suggestion for that. Billy Preston just takes over, does an awesome show. It's a beautiful break of the show, and it even feels for a moment, because the second song is also a Billy Preston song, Out of Space, that Billy Preston has his small gig there. And the fact that the Rolling Stones, one of the biggest bands out there, takes time for one of their musicians to let their solo career work and work for the show, and they give him room, that says something about the vibe and the personality of this band. I dig it. What a great addition. And now, at the new track, Midnight Rambler, we're getting back to a Rolling Stones gig, because Mick Jagger's gonna sing again. And I have an idea what Mick Jagger was doing when Billy Preston was singing. I think he was drinking. Because he comes up with some great energy, great song. It's a good performance yet. But something is already off. And when we get to It's Only Rock and Roll, I notice Jagger is dragging. He starts to drag. The first couple of lines really sound drunk. It doesn't rock the way it should. The band is still tight. They're doing a great job. But Jagger is dragging, and it's not working. This is not a good version of the song. Brown Sugar, Starts with a sharp and pointy guitar there. Love it. And still is Jagger drunk. He's starting to shout uncontrolled in the microphone. It's with the meters turning red, but really the kind of shouting that you recognize from karaoke performances after midnight. There are moments that are like that. Jumping Jack Flash, and right now with these songs, the big hits, the live show and the value I have for it is going down my list of favorite Rolling Stone shows. And it's the first time ever that I'm experiencing something like that Jagger is losing it. Still dragging, sounding like he's out of breath, like he's not understanding the song. This is not good street fighting, man. The band is stunning, and I have no clue what Jagger is doing here. Ending off of Sympathy for the Devil, one of my favorite Rolling Stones tracks. Like, for a lot of people, it's one of their favorite Rolling Stones tracks, but it always hits the right cue for me. And it has this beautiful opening with bongos or congas. Then I believe it's Keith Richards laying down some chords, just chords, not yet the just the chords down, and then while everybody is building slowly, the piano enters, beautiful, doing its melody. Before everything is rolling, Jagger starts shouting and doing stuff, and he does a total out of over the top performance. He blows it, the entirety. He blows it. The last 5 songs don't work because of Mick Jagger. Never thought that would happen. So overall, this is a fascinating box set because the new mix of Black and Blue, it's worthwhile. This is something you should hear. Disc 2 is a gorgeous demo outtakes disc, which would serve as a beautiful example for a lot of box sets trying to do the same. Disc 3 and Disc 4 is one half of a brilliant show and one half of a show of Mick Jagger blowing it. Really. But is that interesting? Oh yes, it's interesting and it's great fun. The Rolling Stones did a super job with this release. So I'm curious, what do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Leave a comment below and I'll see you in my next video.